Welcome back to Network TV, episode 8 of our 11th season here on NCW Live Channel. I'm David Mabee, your host and the marketing director at NCW Tech Alliance. Our mission is to ignite innovation and support the vibrant tech and creative community in North Central Washington, helping entrepreneurs and visionaries to thrive. In today's episode, we're stepping into the visual world of Heirloom, a standout creative studio nestled in downtown, known for its exceptional video production and photography. We're joined by the dynamic duo behind Heirloom, Mingo, an award-winning filmmaker and photographer with a rich 2-decade journey in the creative industry, and Brittney Loveall, the project coordination powerhouse, ensuring Heirloom's visions are executed flawlessly. Oli's artistic prowess and dedication have evolved Heirloom from a humble beginning, essentially a business wrung out of his backpack, into a bustling 2,200 square foot studio with 3 full-time employees. Brittney's strategic approach and her knack for organization has been pivotal in this remarkable growth, allowing Heirloom to embrace larger projects and expand its creative footprint. Today, Oli and Brittney will share their inspiring story of Heirloom's growth, their personal paths in the creative field, and the essence of their downtown studio's success in video production and photography. Moreover, they'll offer invaluable insights into what it takes to transform a side hustle into a thriving full-scale operation, along with tips and tricks for elevating your creative venture to the next level. So stay tuned with us as we delve into the journey of Heirloom, uncovering the strategies and passion that fuel its success, right here on Network TV on the NCW Live Channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Network TV. I'm here with Mingo and Brittney Loveall from Heirloom Creatives. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Well, just to jump into this, who is Heirloom and how did you guys get your start?
Yeah, so we started Heirloom about 2 years ago. I've had a super long career, just creative career here in the Valley, background in filmmaking.
Yeah.
I've been able to get to work and celebrate so many incredible people and businesses and stories here in the Valley. And then in 2016, my daughter was born and just really changed my life, my perspective, and basically started documenting her life. Bought my first real photography camera and started just documenting my life. And people were like, this is absolutely incredible. And I want, would you do this for me? And so really was able to begin to pivot and turn my lens towards family, community, and things that I'm really passionate about.
Right.
Especially living around here. And so started a band a couple years ago, brought Brittney on as our project coordinator, and now we're a 3-piece, got a beautiful studio downtown Wenatchee, and it's doing all manners of commission portraiture. So families, weddings, all that good stuff, and then a lot of commercial work.
Very cool.
As well.
And then, so you have this brand new 2,200 square foot studio in downtown. Brittney, tell us a little bit about it, and you're the project coordinator, so kind of like what's your role there and how you manage the rest of the asylum?
Well, our studio downtown is absolutely beautiful. We call it like our basement flat. We don't have windows, but it's not a bad thing. It looks very much like our living room. We have a wrapped kitchen and we have a ping pong table.
I saw some ping pong happening.
That's a very important part of our team. And we have a beautiful studio that is inside the space, and plus some like individual workspaces that are within there. And we're just right in the heart of downtown Wenatchee, so it makes it really easy to go get lunch and meet with clients and all things like that. And as for project coordinating, I do anything and everything that keeps Oli and Nick from working in camera or creating. So invoicing, scheduling, client communication, booking folks, just talking with them, doing a lot of our networking and different things like that. So just kind of anything that would prevent them from making more art. I'm just there to make their jobs easier, and so we can take on bigger projects, more clients, and kind of do bigger and more rad things.
Yeah, and so you were doing social media before this. How did you find out about Heirloom, or how did that relationship form?
Oh, well, really, I mean, we are a 3-piece, like Oli said. So Nick Dirk is our other photographer, and I've known Nick for about 10 years now. And I was the social media manager for an online business here in town, and Nick was our video guy. And so as the social media manager, big part of my job there was making content, photos, videos, like 5-minute long videos very regularly up on our YouTube channel, but also then like cute little things here and there. And so Nick and I spent a lot of time working together, and I helped him out with different things when he was a kind of a backpack backpack solo guy as well. But when they started to get bigger, they just really needed somebody to come on and help. And Nick knew, and he was right, that we would be just a great fit, the three of us. Like just the three of us working together is just a really great match.
And Ollie, you and Nick have a relationship, or how did you meet Nick?
I'm a decade older than Nick, and we're both products of the this is called the Skill Center, the Tech Center. It goes through different names, but we were both products of that video program there.
Yeah.
And so I actually, first time I got to meet Nick, I was actually there as the professional talking about what your career in filmmaking, what you could have.
Yeah.
And so that's the first time we got to meet. And then when he was coming out of the class, he came highly recommended from the instructor. And so he came in and started doing some job shadowing stuff with North 40 Productions.
Nice.
And then he had his own business, so he was doing his own thing as well. And then basically I got buried in wedding season, and Nick was buried. We were both super busy, so we started swapping hours and just helping each other out with projects. And then we finally got to the point where we could look up and breathe and be like, oh, okay, we survived that. And we just enjoyed working with each other so much that we decided to start a band.
That's awesome. That's a cool story. It's kind of funny, especially in this town, how things kind of happen and as you're working and different things like that. So,
well, and part of this too with having three of us, we can really, again, it's creative work is very expensive. And it's also very time consuming. But there's a lot of bits, if we can come together and pool our talents and our resources, there's economy of savings there.
Right.
And then just not having to be alone during very creative, daunting times.
Yeah.
And we're also all multipliers. We all have different strengths that we really bring to the table.
Right.
And with all of us, we can see each other's blind spots. And even just last week, Brittney was out sick for a couple days. Nick was in Mexico on vacation, and I was alone, and I had nobody to bounce ideas off of. And so
Here I go again.
Yeah. So we got a really good thing going on.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand. I do photography a little bit here for fun, and I've done video. There's shooting. That's your day there. But then you shoot, I don't know how many, at a wedding, you shoot 10,000 photos or whatever it is. You got to go back and edit them. You got to find the best one. It's not just one day, it's pre-production, it's planning. It's all this stuff that goes into it. So when you're hiring somebody, just know that that's why you're paying a professional to do these things, because there's so much time and effort that goes in that you don't ever see. Sorry, that's my 2 cents as also a small business owner. Well, so you had your background in video production, photography. You kind of talked about how that team came together. But so you went from videography to photography just when your daughter was born. So how long was your journey in the photography realm? You mentioned North 40. Is that where you got your start, or how did you get your start?
I was cooking pizza, well, like I said, so I went through the Skill Center. Came out of school, didn't pursue college or anything. I was just ready to work. I was done with education. But I had a camera, I had a computer, and I was just jamming, make my own little silly videos and stuff. And I was actually cooking pizza at Loveall when Jeff Austinson and Jamie Howell came in.
Oh, okay.
They were chatting over a documentary project. I kept hearing B-roll and interview and content. It's hearing these things. I was hey, I kicked in my little business card I had. I was I dabble in video. And I went in the next week, showed him my awful portfolio that was apparently enough to get a job.
Right.
And now I've been in the industry for almost 20 years.
Right. Insane.
Yeah. And so making that being self-taught, going through everything and basically learning real world from the film industry was incredibly fun, incredibly stimulating. And then being able to kind of pivot into photography gave me a whole new suite of challenges.
Right.
But I also realized that being a creative is fun, but being a creative entrepreneur is even more challenging and engaging and stimulating. And so I realized that everything from the marketing and branding through the problem solving and the business systems and all the entrepreneur side of things and the soft skills and the networking, it was just man, this is really stimulating. But it also takes people ask me, what do you? I'm a photographer.
Right.
Photography is 10%, maybe if I'm lucky, on a good week, 10% of what I'm doing. Yeah, there's so many different hats to be worn. And so it's just really challenging, it's really fun. And again, that has all just evolved into being able to build something that's bigger than any one of us could be.
Yeah.
And also just being kind of a beacon and a resource. Our goal is to be the flagship photography agency within Central Washington. And we'll get into this a little bit later, but we're kind of pivoting into some high-end portraiture and wedding industry stuff.
Yeah.
But really just want to be a beacon for, if you are the weekend warrior, if you're gigging on the weekends, because this industry is so awesome, because you can be a stay-at-home mom, or you can have a 9 to 5 and then still go gig during golden light in the evenings and on the weekends. And you can make incredible side money, or you can just be really stimulated. And it can be a challenge pivoting into like a legitimate business with insurance and actually paying yourself a living wage.
Right. All the things you don't really think of.
Yeah, it kind of takes the fun out of it, but when it is able to take flight, it's really rewarding to be a part of.
And that's amazing. And Brittney, so now that you're in your current role, do you do any social media? Are you doing any do you get behind the camera at all, or is your role more defined now, and you're in your lane there now?
Yeah, it is pretty well defined. I mean, they do every once in a while still put a camera in my hands. This past 6 months, though, I think I've done more editing than I think I've ever done. Learned all sorts of very specific Photoshop actions that I definitely did not know before. But we are still in this like transitional stage. For the last 2 years, we've really just been forming together and just moving ahead.
Right.
And now we're really making these targeted transitions. And so we're still trying to find our voice a little bit and how we present a little bit. So I don't do a ton of social media anymore, which honestly I'm not that mad about. That's part of the reason why I switched to this. I really missed just being with people versus being in a cubicle and on a computer all day.
Yeah.
And so now getting to be with people and on a team and seeing clients is very different.
Perfect. Well, that is a great segue into our commercial break here. There's going to be more here with Heirloom Studios with Ole and Brittney here when we come back from the break. You're watching Network TV here on NCW Live Channel, and we'll be back here in a minute. Welcome back to Network TV here on NCW Live Channel. Now we're going to get into the becoming an entrepreneur, how Ole went from a backpack to a studio, and then advice for entrepreneurs from Brittney and Ole here. So in 2020, you're running your business out of your backpack. You've kind of talked to this, but what your daughter and everything else, what really was the push or the leap that led you to make it into entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Was it really your daughter, or is it
No,
just...
absolutely. And one thing I found through this is every time I begin to kind of get comfortable, or I can begin to relax, be like, yeah, this is good. I pivot every time.
Right.
And actually like shifting gears, and you're redlining, you can't possibly do anymore, and then you shift gears, and you're bogging down, you don't know if you're going to be able to make the grade, right? So first getting into it, and then in the beginning it just being purely a side hustle.
Yeah.
And cool, I just made an extra 15, 20 grand this year. That's awesome. You know, and then, but all the money went into new camera gear, equipment and stuff.
Right.
So really quickly you learn about taxes and being organized and all that stuff.
Surprise!
Exactly, yeah. And then things begin just organically. It's almost like, I don't play a ton of video games, but like in a race car game, it's like, okay, I'm going to upgrade the suspension, I'm going to upgrade the tires, now the engine, now the transmission. And it's like you just kind of you find your weakest point or your strongest point, and you try to kind of multiply and build on that.
Right.
So going through that whole process and then wanting to just continue to grow and get a little bit bigger, but then with that come additional complications, such as, making sure that you know how you're running your books, making sure that, oh man, everything that I've built, if I get in a car accident on the way to the photo shoot, I could lose everything. So then it's like, okay, now I have to have insurance.
Insurance and everything, yeah.
And then, so everything kind of keeps getting more and more real. And 2020 was a really scary time, specifically in the wedding industry, because you couldn't have events.
Right.
So, I would really benefit from the capacity of a lot of I became self-employed at just the right time, because I was able to get a lot of the grants and a lot of those resources and funding, which allowed me to, rather than freaking out and having to give up on my dream, I could pursue my education, I could continue growing and building things. I invested in some new equipment that allowed me the following year to just, boom, hit the ground running. Because the next year was a bumper crop. It was like all those folks who wanted to get married but couldn't, and then all the young couples who quarantined together and realized that they're actually compatible and they want to do it for the rest of their lives. So it was this massive amount of work. And so that in itself provided the need and opportunity to scale. Yeah. And I, while I was quarantining and just living my best life in my backyard, tweaked my back really bad. And I've never had any sort of mental accident or a physical accident like that. So realizing if that would have happened during a normal wedding season, I would have been out all that work. And so I was like, okay, like I'm super busy, and if I get hurt, I'm destroyed. So looking to start a team and be able to do that. And it's also just more fun because we can take on bigger projects, we can make a bigger impact, work with more people, and just creating an incubator for other people to have professional creative careers is really rewarding.
Cool. And then, so Brittney, for you during this time, what really inspired you to take that leap and join this band? You know, it's got to be kind of an unknown, and I know you knew Nick, but you probably didn't really know Oli at the time. So what inspired you to take the leap?
Well, I was definitely ready just to make a change. I mean, I had been working in a cubicle in an office that we didn't have clients come in. We didn't interact with them face to face, and I'd been there for about 8 years. And so I learned so much from there, met loads of people that I'm still friends with and still like owe a lot to. But I definitely was ready to do something different. I didn't want to just be having my head in social media and just doing Facebook ads all day.
Right.
So it was scary to make the leap in the sense that I was leaving an established business.
Right.
And, you know, I had guaranteed things, and I was going to something that was a startup and it was new. I definitely knew Nick, but Oli and I clicked right away, so that I really wasn't too worried about that. But it was more of a leap of like trust and like putting my like effort and just putting all of it into this because I believe in this business just as much as Oli does, just as much as Nick does, even if I'm not one of the ones that's behind the camera. So scary,
still
but way worth it. Like I am so glad that you know, they reached out to me and had me just contract with them for. Actually, I think I only worked for you guys for like 10 or 15 hours before they like had me up for dinner, and like we had like drinks and played croquet, and then they were very nervous, like, will you please join our band? So
you made it.
Yeah, I couldn't. It was honestly the best decision I've ever made. So
I was actually going to open up a HELOC against my house to guarantee her salary for a year.
Oh wow!
We didn't know if it was going to work out, and then the HELOC ended up falling through at the last minute. But Brittney actually brought some professional relationships with her that allowed she paid for herself the first year in salary.
Oh,
so,
with extra jobs and things like that.
So just going into it, we had no idea if this was going to work, and we're like, okay, let's try it. And then everything's just thriving.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. I mean, not only did that project and a few others just completely pay for my salary, but that project in itself probably made us learn more from each other than a million little projects would have done, because it was complicated and it was tricky, and there were, you know, curveballs being thrown in the mix because it was a big commercial one. But there was photos and there was video and there were changes and timeline, you know, so it was so much stuff. But from that, it was like on the job training that we were getting all paid to do. Yeah. And it just brought like all this security. And I think it really solidified like Nick's opinion that like, Brittney is the one that we need to bring on. Oli's like, okay, like I believed you, but now like I get it.
Now we're good. So it seems like there's a strong culture of entrepreneurship in North Central Washington. Do you guys have an opinion on why you think that is, or any insight onto that?
Well, look around when you're coming into work in the morning. Look how many trucks drive by with their own logos and stuff on it, right? This town is built by contractors, and there's a lot of people. Well, we have incredible institutions and organizations and some really large businesses here that are even, you look at Stemelt, you look at Confluence Health, like you look at these things, these are local businesses.
Right.
They're making a huge impact in the community, but there's also so many lone wolf operators and small contractors and small business people who, day in, day out, when you are creating your own existence through your work like that, like you take more passion in it, and really, I think there's a community of entrepreneurs that, you know, we can see that in each other, and we realize how hard business is.
For sure.
And you can even look through COVID, how much people were like out, supporting the local restaurants, thinking about the people who weren't able to work, and just being out there and really supporting them.
Well, the thing that's different here, I think, I've lived in LA, I've lived in big cities. Here, I might know the person who owns the restaurant or taking the photos.
Exactly.
So not only do I get to hear, like, you inspire me, like hearing your stories over a beer, not only is there an inspiration, but it's like that thought of like, I know you and you're doing it, so we're not that different. Maybe I can do it. So I don't know if that's what plays into it, being in a smaller community, but I know that's what kind of sparks my interest and my imagination. Do you have anything to add to that, Brittney?
Well, I mean, I think that there's just great support for people that are looking to kind of put themselves out there in different ways here. I mean, we have so many amazing organizations and just resources all over. I mean, like for like Supernova competition through the EDD, amazing.
We just had Craig on.
The like
small business development,
everything that the Tech Alliance does, like all the events that like the chamber puts on to get like people connected within the community. So there really is just this like strong like network of support that you can get everywhere that you look here, and everybody that you meet is willing to like just go out for a cup of coffee with you and like give you advice or just talk you through it, or like have like a little hive mind, you know, and kind of like get through it together. And so I think that's something that's really unique about here. It's because we're a small community, but we're not that small, right? So there is just all of these people that you can reach out to and learn from.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, as we're wrapping up here, I guess I'd like one quick tip for you, from each of you, for a budding entrepreneur, and then how we can get a hold of Heirloom Creatives, or if somebody wants to get in contact with you guys for a project.
Yeah.
So we'll start with you, Brittney.
I think don't underestimate connections that you make. You know, Nick was 18 when I met him. If somebody would have told me that I would have like jumped in like head first into this project, I would not have believed them. But like connections is everything. Like just like getting that project that, you know, allowed for me to be employed all of that first year essentially, to getting this job, to like every single thing. So just don't underestimate the power of connections, because it really is everything.
Weaving your business into the fabric of the community is really important. And then also the ignorance tax. We don't know what we don't know. And so looking for mentors and people that you look up to and aspire to, they want to help too. So don't ever be afraid to ask for help or a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then how can somebody get involved with you or a hold of you for a cup of coffee or talk to some business with you guys?
HeirloomCreatives.com. We got a phone number. You can talk to Brittney on the phone.
509-423-7284. Or just hit us up on Instagram. It's just Heirloom Creatives. On Facebook. But yeah, check out our website. Check out our work.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you, Ole and Brittney.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Network TV. And we'll be back on NCW Live channel for more episodes here in the future. Thanks for joining us today.